Shit moms won't say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. I know I say it every time, but I am really, really excited for who I have on tonight. What do you get when you cross a, Long Island adjacent person turned Floridian who has made an entire brand, an 80K YouTube and Instagram and tremendous social media following off of marriage, remarriage, divorce, babies, more babies? You get Rachel Sobel, right? That's the Jewish pronunciation. Sobel, Whine and Cheez. Welcome. I see you're in your closet, which is, as I said, on brand, and you said is just, that's your life.
The only place I have to hide. Even though it's like really, they don't care anymore. There's no boundary anymore, but yes, this is my spot. It's my office.
And if people don't, it's your home base. It's your HQ. And for people who don't watch your show, which is, live from my closet, here we are in your closet.
Where the magic happens.
And I just thought it was a bit, but I guess it's
real life.
It's real life.
I mean, literally my husband puts my little one to bed every night. That's like his job, because that's really the only time he has with her. And just now he said to her, he's like, "Mommy's got to go. You got to say goodnight. Mommy's got to go." And he's like, "Where?" She goes, "Where?" And my husband goes, "To work." And my daughter goes, "Where?" And he goes, "In her closet." She's going in her closet. Everyone knows. It's just a thing.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, we're live from your closet. We're live from my office, and we'll do what we got to do. So before we jump in, you and I have vague connection, and we're going to play the world's smallest game. And as I told you before, if we do not accomplish what we want to accomplish in under 3 minutes, I'm pulling it. It'll air, but I'm pulling it. So you very briefly lived on Long Island as a child. You then moved to Florida, as all good Jewish women do.
Yes.
But you still have family here. So for, those people out there, let's call them the goyim, if we will, right? And I'm like the least Jewish person, by the way. I'm throwing out all these Jewish terms, and I'm like Jewish.
You are like throwing Yiddish out. You're like super.
My last name's Ferretti now. I have no to stand on here. But so a very real thing is Long Island Jewish geography. So you could be anywhere in the world, and you could be like, "Oh, I'm from Long Island." They'd be like, "Oh my God, that's so funny." So my grandma, da 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 da. You and I have cheated a little bit. We've played this game. So I'm gonna start. I grew up in Merrick. Do you know anyone in Merrick?
One section of my entire family is in Merrick.
Okay.
All of my cousins and an aunt and uncle are in Merrick, and all went to high school, born and bred there, and were there. Their last name is Greco. I don't know if you know any Grecos.
No. Greco. Any doctors?
No doctors. We got a trader.
What kind of Jew are you?
Pharmaceutical reps. That's it. No, close, right?
Greco. And this is such a snobby question. Are they North or South Merrick?
Wait, which part of Merrick is the snobby part?
So South Merrick is so fucking rich. North Merrick is no money.
They're North Merrick. They don't have no money, but they're North Merrick. They actually live, funny story, they live around the corner from Lindsay Lohan's grandma. So you'd think
I went to school with Lindsay Lohan, and there we are. Ding, ding, ding.
And Dina Lohan was actually my cousin's mother's helper. When my aunt was like a young mom, Dina was still living there, and she was the mother's helper for my cousins.
So Dina Lohan has come up on my show one too many times for me to be comfortable. And I think it's just because of where I'm from. And I have a friend of mine coming on the show. We actually filmed in my backyard, and she tells a story about Dina Lohan that implies that perhaps she had a threesome with her, which is not true. But she's come up on my show a few times. So
okay, well, maybe you need connection.
Our connection is the Lohan family.
It is. I mean, who would have guessed? And we've nailed it really quickly. I thought we were going to have to go around in circles a little bit, maybe start throwing out local bagel places and substitute that for people's names. But we did it.
There you go. Look at that. A success. Terrific. You, me, mazel tov to you. You, me, and the Lohans. To the Lohans. Cheers. All right, let's jump into the Big Mom 3. So first question of Big Mom 3, did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
100%. I just didn't know what I was signing up for. But Yes, I always like I was a little girl that played with dolls. Yes, I was always very nurturing. I have a little brother that's 5 years younger than me. So we joke that when he came home from the hospital, he had two mothers because I was five and I was, independent and wanted to take care of him. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And so I had that like warm Jewish mother making, well, I would say making meals, but she did not cook. She brought takeout in because she could not really cook a lot of things. But I had that presence in my life. And so I think probably because I grew up with it, but also I just had always been maternal. Yes, 100% always wanted to be a mother. Always.
That's awesome. We're going to talk about your kids in a little bit, but give everybody the breakdown of your children.
I have two girls. One is 11. She'll be 12 next month. And one will be 4 in February. And they are turning me gray. I told you offline, and I'm not even exaggerating, I pretty much almost gave myself an aneurysm tonight screaming at my toddler. And I felt bad and I apologized. I'm such an asshole. I was like, I'm so sorry that I yelled. And she looked at me and she goes, "Thank you, mommy." No, I'm sorry. No, like I'm sorry too. She said, "Thank you, mommy." So you can tell who's in charge, but
she gaslit the shit out of you. Let's face it.
Totally.
You know what? That's a good quality though. I think parents don't sometimes apologize enough. So it's nice that you were like, maybe I made a mistake. I'm sorry. It should have been reciprocated.
I wanted to take it back. When she didn't say sorry, I wanted to take it back, but I was like, she's 3.5. I should probably just be the bigger person,
Like literally, yeah, I would. Good for you. Good for you. I'm proud of you. Big mom question number 2. What is the like shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice you've ever gotten from another mother or parent?
I'm going to guess that most people who answer this question probably say something like sleep when the baby sleeps, which is the worst piece of advice because it's bullshit. But I'm going to actually be a little bit broader, and I'm going to say any piece of unsolicited advice ever on the history of the earth is the worst advice that I've ever gotten.
Bravo. You know what? I can stop asking that question now because you just summed it up. It's true. It's true.
I think moms are incredible resources. I have learned so much from my mom friends. I've learned so much from just moms in general, reading stuff online, all these things. But the worst is when people impose their views and advice versus saying things like, and it's just a change in language, like, hey, I'm not sure this worked for me. I don't know if it worked for you versus this is what you should or need to do. I hate should, I hate need, I hate it's very intrusive to me. And so I'd rather if someone's going to try and give me advice, relate it to yourself and what worked for you and don't make it like it's gospel. That makes me crazy.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. And, the word should, it's like you really could like should all over yourself. Like it's so, you could get so down on yourself by all of the things you should do. So yes, totally agree. Big mom question number 3. What is a skill or a superpower you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
I think I probably had whatever if you would consider them superpowers. I'm super type A. I'm very organized, but I'm going to be very honest. All that went out the window when I had kids because you make all these plans based on your superpowers of how you're going to mother. And the truth is that until you have those children home and you are on your own and there's no nurses and no hospital and no one changing the baby's diaper because you don't know how and all that stuff, it is like a free for all. It's like the Amazing Race every single day.
Yeah.
I feel like all those things that I felt like I was going to be well equipped for motherhood, I'm sure in some way, shape or form have helped shape my journey. But I think at the end of the day, everything that I thought I knew about being a mother means nothing. None of it meant anything. I had to relearn. It's like a toddler learning to walk and talk. I had to relearn how to live my life being ruled by 2 tyrants who don't care because they know they own me. They do. I am like such a tough cookie in so many circumstances. I will negotiate a raise for myself when I worked in corporate. I'm aggressive. I'm not like a wallflower. But when it comes to my kids, my husband makes fun of me because like I just say yes all the time. And it's not even to be a pushover. I'm just tired. I'm so tired that I can't even fight anymore.
I get it. And it doesn't make you a pushover. It makes you like a tired mom. I think it makes you like every other mother in the world that you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Stick it in that plug. Fine. I don't care. Go ahead.
You'll learn, sweetheart. Just
right. When you get electrocuted, you'll understand why you shouldn't have done that. My daughter's only 11 months old, so we don't have that yet.
Yeah.
But
What's
we
that
will.
I don't even remember.
Oh, well, she's like, she's taking very small steps. So we're like, we're fucked. Like, this is only a matter of weeks before we're totally, totally fucked.
That's the thing. You wish for all those things. You're like, oh, I can't wait till she walks. I can't wait till she talks. And you do. Obviously those are magical moments as a
Yes.
mother, but you don't realize. I'm gonna say, and this might be an unpopular opinion because I'm supposed to be all like motherly and maternal, which I am. But newborns suck. Newborns suck because the colic and the crying and all that stuff. But then you get this sweet spot where they're just sleeping all the time and you don't realize how good you have it. And you're sitting there going, oh, I'm stuck in my house. I can't go anywhere. She's sleeping. You don't realize how good you have it until they start talking and walking and they don't shut up. They do not shut up. They never stop talking. It never stops. From the second I wake up in the morning, it just does not. It is noise in my ears constantly. So you think back and you're like, God, I'm an asshole. Like I should have just appreciated those moments of silence and like where I didn't have to do anything because there was just a baby in a whatever they're sleeping in at the moment, and you're off the hook and they're contained to when they start walking. It's a big difference.
No, we see it already. We get a lot of like duh and pointing at things and the small steps. And you're right, that 6-month spot.
I know.
It would have been nice.
Realize what we have. We don't even realize what we have until you're, going into your kid's crib because they took their diaper off middle of the night and they're smearing shit all over the walls. You don't even realize how good you have it.
My daughter finally, for the first time, somebody brought it up on here. I forget who it was. They were like, you'll see, your kid will shit in the tub.
Yes.
She did. She did.
Worst.
It was the worst. And we were like, I said to my wife, I was like, Lily hasn't done that yet. I'm sure she will. And like, we'll like usually rotate who's giving a bath and doing the nighttime thing. And I put her in the tub and I was like, motherfucker, like just shit. And then like, what do you do? Right? Because then you have this baby who's mobile, but not totally. I was like, I guess I'll pick her up. And I was like, Katie, can you like, she shit in the fucking tub. Like, I couldn't believe it. So yeah, there's shit everywhere all the time.
May that be the last time. May you only experience that, once. I'll just put it out there in the universe for you.
Based on how funny she found it, I think it's going to be an ongoing thing. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. So you have a pretty cool story. So you just said like you're a tough cookie. Like when you were in corporate America, you would negotiate raises for yourself. I also come from corporate America, so I love talking to other women that have that background. But you made a conscious choice at some point. You were in PR and you were like, no, fuck this. Like I can use my powers for good. I have this thing I want to do. I have this platform. And you chose to just come out as this really like honest person, this very honest mom, and you've built a huge brand out of it. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your decision to become Whine and Cheez, right? Which is like, what a great name also. Terrific.
Thank you. I spent almost 2 decades in PR. It's really interesting because when people meet me and they see what I do now, they can't reconcile, PR, it's a natural fit for something like this. However, I was in technology, launching startups that were very back end, boring office stuff, like things that consumers would not know about. And I loved it. I was good at it. I built a really successful career doing it. And I really did enjoy what I did. And then I had a baby. And when I had my first baby, I still loved it, but I felt that pressure of like, somebody else is with my kid all day. It's 5 o'clock. I have to go. There was no more happy hour. There was no more, I was definitely rushing and getting out the door, trying to find that balance, which does not exist. And then, I think what happened was I started to get that burnout that I think a lot of women and people in general get in corporate America, especially when you're trying to be a parent as well. It's really hard. It's really hard. And when I moved back to Florida after being in Boston and New York for a number of years, when I moved back to Florida, I took a job in-house doing what I did on the agency side. And I don't know if it was a combination of already being well into my late 30s or having gone through a divorce or having just gone through, tough life circumstances and having no patience anymore for bullshit. I hated it. And when I realized I hated it, I couldn't unhate it. I couldn't talk myself into finding the good. And then I realized I was in such a toxic work environment with women who were so mean and so cutthroat. And I'm a girl's girl. I have had girlfriends my whole life. I did the sorority thing in college. I'm not one of those girls who's like, oh, I don't know how to be friends with women. I'm only friends with men. I love my girlfriends. They are like my soul.
Those women have a different name, by the way. Like, so girls, the women that can't do that, they're just called bitches. Like,
well, I have a lot of,
it.
I think that women are tough, you know, like
Women are tough.
I think that if you don't have a thick skin and if you don't have a strong sense of self, I could see how it could be intimidating to like gather a gaggle of women if you're not sure of yourself. I get it. However,
Yeah, I can get that.
To me, it's a red flag when I meet women that don't have at least one, just one girlfriend. You just need one.
Mhm.
You just need
Just one. I agree.
because the female relationship outside of anything intimate and outside of anything work related is such a crucial relationship even before you're a mother. And so when I
Sure.
realized I was in this environment with women who were not like that and were just mean girls, and I literally started having fantasies of just working at Starbucks because I couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, I would rather deal with the assholes at Starbucks who have like a 15-minute drink order who are making me crazy than anything happening here right now. And then I had a pivotal moment where the owner of the company came at me for something and I cried. And I'm a crier. I'm
Oh, are
tough.
you a crier? I was gonna ask because if so I'm also corporal. I very rarely cry over work, and when you do, you're like, oh. But so you're a crier, okay?
I cried and it wasn't out of fear. I was so mad. And I'm a crier when I'm angry, when I'm happy, when I'm sad, whatever I'm emoting, it comes out in tears. It doesn't even matter. Last night I was watching Gilmore Girls with my older one because that's like our thing now.
Mhm.
And I cried. And I cry every episode. And she goes, I can't even watch TV with you. Like, get it.
That's cry worthy. That is like some
is.
of the best TV that's ever been on TV. So
Ever.
I mean, minus this like new season where
I know.
Rory's pregnant.
I haven't even watched it yet, but do you?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. We started from the beginning. We started from the first episode
Oh.
ever because she's never seen it. Did you know? I know I'm going off on a tangent, so I'm sorry. But did you know that the director producer of Gilmore is the same one from Weeds?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
His name Genji.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite shows of all time, but they're so different. But when you look at like the way the characters are, you're like, oh, I get it. It's like that snappy sarcasm, witty, whatever. But anyway, I totally deviated. I'm sorry. I took us off the train.
Did she do Miss Maisel also, or did I make that up?
Oh, I don't know if she did, but
I might be lying to your face and to everybody that follows me, but you guys have Google, so figure it out. But Weeds, yes, Weeds and Gilmore Girls.
So yeah, so I couldn't unhate it. I had many honest conversations with my husband. At the time I was already writing. I had started my blog as like a hobby and I was really just sharing funny story. My family's hilarious. It's the whole Long Island conglomerate, you know, so they are hilarious. So there's always material. And I was freelancing. And so my husband and I had all these very serious adult conversations about finances and the boring stuff that you never want to talk about. And we were like, you know what? Let me see if I can duplicate my salary for like 2 or 3 months. And if I can do that, I'm out. And so I literally worked all day at a job I hated. And then I came home, kissed my baby goodnight, and worked for hours to just not say no to anything, to have as many bylines as I could, as many, clients as I could. And then I pieced out and it was the best day. And valet brought my car around because they had valet there. And I was like, word to your mother. And he was like, are you going to be back after lunch? And I was like, and I've said this before, I'm like, I'm going to be back at never o'clock. I'm never going to see you again. Have a nice life. And it was scary, but it was freeing. And I was like, you know what? I don't even know if this is going to work. I don't know if like my whole plan in my head is going to work, but I have a wonderful husband who supports me like the biggest cheerleader and really pushed me out of my comfort zone to go for it. And I needed that because as strong-willed as I am, I have a mortgage, I have kids, I have, I was nice living. And so when you're going from a cushy job and a paycheck to not knowing what's going to happen month to month, it is very, very scary, but I have zero regrets. It's the best thing I ever did.
That's awesome. You've built a hell of a brand. So you have a lot of followers, a lot of people very interested in what you're doing. And kudos to you. I mean, you really made a choice to just be an honest mom. And like you said, you're a girl's girl. And I think that it shows in everything you do. You're honest in your experience of motherhood. Like, you screamed at your toddler today. I think there are a lot of moms that are like scared to say shit like that because they don't want to, no, my kids are, I'm a good mom. And like, no, sometimes your kids suck. Sometimes motherhood sucks. Sometimes life sucks. And that's okay.
Sometimes motherhood is not what you want it to be that day. Like, it's just not. And it's okay to admit that. It doesn't mean you don't love your kids. It doesn't mean you don't love being a mother. It's just honest. And I think that, like you said, I came out being an honest mom for the sole purpose that what I was reading online, all the stuff, with exception to a few accounts here and there, everything just felt so predictable. And so if I saw one more litter board, I was going to like poke my eyes out with a dull fork. Like, I couldn't take all of the canned content. And I know there's an audience for that, and that's fine. I guess,
Sure.
there are people, it's fine. But
No.
I just felt like there's so many tough parts of motherhood, and also coming out of a divorce, having a different perspective, being remarried and blending a family and having all that stuff. I felt like there has to be women like me who don't feel comfortable talking about these things among the picket fence moms. And so they need a space. They need somewhere to
Yeah.
go, because there's so much judgment among women and mothers, which I hate. And everyone's guilty of it to an extent. I'm sure I've done it in my
Sure.
life.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious about it now, because it's like I have triggers around it, but I just couldn't take I want to normalize the conversations around the messy parts of motherhood. I think that's really how you bond with other women. Like, that's how you are like, oh my God, like you said, you screamed at your kid too. Oh my God, I did. Thank you so much. I don't feel so bad. Like, we have to lift each other up in the
Yeah.
bad parts, not just celebrate all the good stuff,
Well, it's fake. It's bullshit. Like I just said, I was elbow deep in shit yesterday. Like, nothing glamorous about that. Like, that certainly after working, a 10-hour day, I wasn't like, oh boy, I hope I get to dip my hands in my kid's shit tonight. Like,
wait, yeah.
right. Yes. That wasn't on my like to-do list, but like, it happens. And I think, to your point, you really are one of the women that are leading the charge on social media platforms of like, hey, it's all cool. It's cool. Sometimes it's messy. So I love watching your show. So what's next for you? You have your show, you write, you have your great Instagram page. You have this plan in your head. What's coming up?
I always have a plan in my head. So the writing, is my favorite part of it. And that was one of the reasons why I really left, because as much as I love the show and I love speaking to people, I love speaking at events, I love all of the in-person stuff, my heart and soul is in the writing part of it. And so I am in the process of selling a book. I'm pitching it around. I'm waiting. It's just a shitty time to sell a book. We're in the middle of COVID. Publishing is a tough business as it is. And so I have a wonderful agent, and we're working together to kind of just get things in shape. And that's really where I'm pouring all my energy into right now, in addition to all the regular stuff. Because the thing with Instagram and the thing with social media, if you are not on all the time and engaging with people and constantly commenting and building those relationships, it's not authentic, and people will leave, and they know that. And so I feel this immense responsibility, and it's self-imposed. No one's ever said anything to me. It's just completely self-imposed, that I feel so grateful that I have built this community of like-minded moms and even some dads who like this kind of commiserating. And I feel like if I don't have that interaction back and forth, then I'm failing what I started to do. And so it's a lot. It's, I feel guilty sometimes having my phone in my hand all the time. And my kids have definitely said to me, can you put your phone down? And it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks, but I just hope that every day when these things are happening, I say to myself, you know what? These two little girls are watching me build something with my own hands. They're watching something that is like so new to the world with social media and everything. And one day I'm hoping they'll look back on it and see some kind of legacy, whatever that looks like, and be like, wow, that's really cool that my mom stepped outside of, the box of what you're supposed to fit into and just did her own thing. That is the biggest thing that I hope for with my career and my kids.
Well, that's awesome. And it is so important to, pursue your passions. It's another thing moms don't really talk about, right? And I brought this up on my show many, many times. And my wife and I are both performers. And obviously now I'm doing the show, and there's lots of different things. People need to do what makes them happy, because it reflects in everything else you do. So your kids are going to be proud of you. They're going to look and be like, holy shit, my mom's pretty cool. I mean, maybe not at different parts of their life, but like,
right.
So, you need to do things that make your kids proud, but simultaneously make you.
Right.
It's really easy to feel like inauthentic as a parent if you stop being Rachel, if I stop being Jess, like it doesn't add up.
Totally.
Speaking of your kids thinking you're cool. So you have 2 daughters, they're 8 years apart. My first question is, yikes and how, and then, many subsequent questions, but let's just kind of chat about the experience as it sits right now, 11 and 3.5.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
And it's so funny because someone said the other day, and I think I was actually I don't remember if I was on an Instagram live, or I don't remember what I was doing, but someone said, oh, my biggest regret is that I had my kids 21 months apart. It's mayhem. And I want to be like, listen, sister, I had my kids 8+ years apart and it's still mayhem.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that it does not matter how close or far apart you have your babies. And guess what? You don't get to choose. I had my first child in my first marriage. And then I met my current and final husband. This is it. And I had a miscarriage, which was awful.
Yeah.
And didn't know if I'd have another baby. And then I had my spitfire of a child who keeps me on my toes and shows me that little girls are not always sugar and spice, 2 weeks before I turned 40. And so
Wow.
I had a whole 40th birthday planned, 90s hip hop themed, like totally balls to the wall, do this. And she ruined it. I couldn't do it. So yeah. So my husband is, like I said, my soulmate. Thank God, the second time I got it right. He threw me a 41st 90s hip hop party. So we got to do it anyway. But yeah, they are amazing, but it's tricky because I have one who's a tween who is rolling her eyes all day, thinks I don't know anything, tells me my music I listen to is trash. Meanwhile, she's listening to most ridiculous things on TikTok that I can't even understand the words they're saying. And I'm like, this is so bad. And then I have the toddler who is clingy, but also independent, which is a really weird paradox. And they're incredible sisters, but they're so different. They're so different. But because they both have my DNA, there's all these little weird genetic, like weird nuances. And I'm like, God, genetics are crazy. Like two different men, but the same mother. And there are so many things about them that are, you can tell are just in them, and it's nuts. It's really nuts.
Which is more like you? And I know obviously 11, you've had a couple more years with her.
Yeah, my older one is definitely more like me. In a lot of ways. Like you said, we spent a lot of time together. I was a single mom with her, so it was just her and I for a while after I got divorced. My little one definitely has my moxie. Like she has and it's funny because you don't think a 3.5-year-old has a sense of humor yet, but my husband and I say all the time, she's hilarious. And there's no way that I was funny that young. So I have to think that that's me. Like I have to think that she has some kind of sense of humor for my husband and I, because our banter is all sarcasm all the time. But my older one is definitely more like me in a lot of her, as I see her habits coming out, even if she doesn't realize it. And she'd probably cringe if she heard me say that, because she loves me and adores me, and there's no lack of affection, or, we are totally, totally close and tight. But she's at that age where she's like rolling her eyes every second. If I buy her clothing, I can't tell you how many t-shirts I have, brand new, cut, crop tops, cut. They're all crop tops. And I'm like, I mean, can you keep any of your clothing intact? Can we not be at that point yet? So it's like, I am in the middle of a toddler and a tween, and it's a very interesting place to be as a mother.
And by the way, you said that there is no way that it's not mayhem. Strong disagree. There is one scenario where people luck out, and it's when you have twins the first time.
You get it all right. You get it all. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, and even then, having twins, holy shit. But like,
I'm sweating thinking about that.
Right? I'm sweating because now I'm worried if we have a second baby, what if it's twins?
Well, it's funny. My husband, after my little one was born, he looked at me and he goes, when she's like a year old, I'm going to get a vasectomy. I was like, great, sign me up. Awesome. I didn't have to like push it on him. It was totally his idea. When we were on the way there, he was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, why, are you not sure? And he's like, no, I want to make sure. And I go, I don't know. I mean, are you going to like start making millions of dollars a year and hire me a full-time staff and like move us into an estate? And he's like, no. I go, then I'm good. I'm all set. I'm good with 2. And
can I move out of my closet for my workspace?
Can I have a real recording studio with like whatever that funky insulation they have is? And my older one says to people now, and they're probably like, wow, her parenting is really next level. People will be like, are you having any more? And my 11-year-old is like, the shop is closed. The shop is closed. And I'm like, she's right. She's right.
Do your kids know, do your kids know what you're doing? Like, are they aware? Do they think it's cool? Like,
My older one, obviously, no, she knows, and she does think it's cool. She does make like very passive aggressive comments sometimes, and I wrote a meme about one of them a few weeks ago. She has said to me in the past that the only reason, like, we'll walk into her school or my school, and people are like, "Oh, hi, hi, hi," and she goes, "The only reason people are nice to you is because they're afraid you're going to write about them."
I
And I'm like,
saw you post that, and
I'm like,
it's true.
great, thanks. But no, she does. I think she definitely gets like a little, her chest gets puffed out when she's not saying, yes, my mom's a lawyer, an accountant. And there's nothing wrong with those things. But how many kids are going, oh, my mom's a writer, she's a blogger. So I think she gets a little bit of like satisfaction out of it. She does also say things like, well, maybe if you posted about me more, you'd get more likes. You know, she says things like that on a regular basis. So she definitely thinks it's cool. She loves the writing part of it. She loves to write. So it's awesome. My little one obviously has no idea what I do. But the minute my phone comes out and she sees me making stories, she pops her head in that frame so fast and comes in hot and she's like, hi, hi. And I'm like, oh God. So
Ow, this is my show. Oh my God. Yeah, you've answered all my, this was painless, right? Super fun.
yeah, totally.
Well, I have two like wrap-up questions, but you like, you nailed it. You did great from your closet.
Awesome.
So I have two, I'm thinking of adding this question in full time because some people have had really good answers. What is the weirdest thing your child did today? Well, either one of them, pick one.
God, there's so many.
They're so weird.
They're so weird. Kids are so weird. Well, one thing, this happened last night, not today. Last night, my little one loves to look at pictures and videos of herself. So I pray to God it's just cute and not narcissistic. So I let it go for now. But she loves to go through my phone and watch videos, mostly from when like she was a baby, because I think it blows her mind. Like, wait a minute.
Oh, that's me. Yeah.
So she was scrolling through and she got to a picture of me holding her in the hospital, like literally seconds after she was born. And she's looking at it. And I go, that's when you came out of mommy's belly. Isn't that so nice? Like, isn't that cool? And she looks at me and she looks at the picture and she goes, did I want M&Ms? And I was like, what? But the kid is like a raging chocoholic. And so I started laughing because I'm thinking, oh my God, her little brain, she's seeing, there she is. She's there in the flesh. I'm like, that's when you were born. And her first thought is, did I want M&Ms when I came out? Like, I didn't even know how to like classify that. So that was weird from her. My older one is just weird in the best way possible because she's so silly and so like confident in herself in so many ways that she really doesn't care if her humor is not funny in other people. So today I probably shouldn't even say this. People are going to be like, wow, she had
no one watches the show anyway. Don't worry about it.
We let my kids curse in the house. They're allowed to curse in the house because I pick and choose my battles. And I'm of the belief that if you make something taboo for your kids to do, they're going to want to do it even more. And so like we have those conversations of, yeah, you can say it, just say it at home. Don't say it at me. Don't say it disrespectfully. So my older one stole my phone today. I didn't even know she had it. I was making dinner and I hear her and my little one screaming, like laughing. And they're singing an original song made up by my older one called Flash Your Titties. And they are running around the house singing Flash Your Titties, cracking up. And I couldn't even be mad. I'm like, part of me is horrified. Like, should I stop this? What do I do? But that's just a typical day here.
Okay. And I like your cursing rule. It's like, drink in the basement with your friends. It's the same parenting.
Because I'm sure you have experience. I know my parents were clearly very liberal, like very liberal. We had very open communication. And I really think it's what I try to carry over with my kids. Every single friend I had whose parents were like super strict with curfews or wouldn't let them date they were the ones doing the questionable things in a parking lot with a guy. They were the ones who were like in college the week they were there, piercing every body part they had and, whatever, doing God knows what. And so I feel like if you give your kids a little bit of like that, the taboo stuff that's within reason, they don't want to do it so bad. Like,
yeah, you gotta give them a little credit, like they're not idiots. Like their friends are going to do dumb stuff. And if you can be like, I'll help you manage this.
Yeah, I should probably reel it in a little bit because my 3.5-year-old on FaceTime with her teachers, her preschool teachers, we love each other. So it's fine. We have a good relationship. They know what I do. They get it. But she on the phone with them, literally looking at her face, looked out the window, my backyard and goes, there's a fucking lizard outside. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. So Part of me sometimes feels like I should probably put my foot down a little bit more, but then I wouldn't have stories and content like this. So
No, they have to curse forever. It's too good. It's too good. Okay. Okay. Final question. What is something you know now that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
that it's really hard, that it's really fucking hard, and
Yeah.
that's okay. That
Mhm.
it's hard, and if it's not hard, you're not doing it right, because nothing about
Damn. Yes.
I mean, nothing about motherhood is easy. All of it, even on a good day, you are responsible for human beings, and like you have to keep them fed and alive and all that kind of stuff. And so, I think that if more women really talked about how hard motherhood was, aside from the jokes that people who don't have kids would say, oh, this is why I don't have kids, aside from all that stuff, I feel like we would go into it with our eyes a little more open.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, listen, thank you so much for being here. You are a Floridian wonder. Where can people follow you if they don't already follow you? Where can they follow you?
So my home base, my website is wineandcheezits.com, wine with an H.
Like whining, like we're whining.
And then all of my my handles on social are at Whine and Cheez. It's on Instagram, Whine and Cheez. It's on Facebook, and the only one that's different is Twitter, which is Whine Cheez-Its, because for some reason they wouldn't let me have the and. I don't know why.
That's okay. Facebook won't let me curse, so it's
Everything.
at moms won't say.
Oh, really?
Full Facebook.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. It's all part of it, but I'll tag you out so everybody can find you as well. But Rachel, thank you for coming on. Your closet looks great. I see some cute flannels. Good for you. Even though you're in Florida.
You'll like this one.
Oh, cool. Look at that.
That's biggie.
Oh, that's a great shirt. Good for you.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in. You can follow us on all kinds of social media. I'll tag it out at the end of this video, and have a great night.